Okay, folks, so this week's course is Mattaponi Springs Golf Course in Virginia. I believe it is in Virginia. And wait a minute, I have to look it up here and find out exactly what county the course is in. Let's see here. It's down by Richmond. Actually, it's really closer to Fredericksburg than Richmond. Ruther, Glen, Virginia. Okay, so this course is a what to say? I would say this is a fairly upscale course. It's not super country club / golf club, kind of thing. It's not like a super upscale course, but it's knocking on the door. It's a very nice course, very good condition. The layout is quite good. And without getting into too much detail right up front, I would say it is a upper scale course. This is better than just about every municipal course I've ever played. It has a very good amount of verticality without being too vertical. And in a sense, I would say about this course, it is almost entirely a mildly spicy course with some good spicy meats in it, but it's not going to burn your tongue. It's not one of those things that's going to, really put the screws to you. It's a slope 139, I believe it's a 139 course, and it is actually quite a decent course. No, 145 from the back tees. Sorry, 145. It is quite a decent course. It doesn't quite play to 145 though. I think it's like a 140 from the back tees. It is not a hugely long course at all. It's not a very, very tough course at all, but it does have teeth, and I think it's got a lot of the standard kind of things that courses have to really keep players on their toes. Curving lakes near the right side of the green, for instance. Water accessible from the tee on holes that are flat, where they might have a lake instead of something like a long carry. It does have some modestly long carries from the back tees. Nothing over 200 yards. It has a 230-yard par 3 from the back tees. And it is definitely not an easy course, but it is not that hard of a course either. It's not a super tricked up, narrow fairwayed, rocks and boulders, sloping greens, really nasty, fescue everywhere course. And I definitely can think of some courses that I've played that are harder than this course, much harder than this course, that were not rated 145. However, this is a pleasant to play course. It is in very good condition, but not excellent. I wouldn't call it just outstandingly outrageous. It's in good condition, surprisingly good condition. The greens were recently aerated. However, they were well aerated and they came out very nice, and there was only a touch of distortion in the putting. It was nice to be able to get out there and hit 20-yard lags, or 20-foot lags. The greens are not super fast due to the fact that 85% of the green doesn't have grass on it or some ridiculous thing like that, but they are well sloped. They're multi-tiered, and they're relatively large, and they definitely have swales around the sides of most of the greens. So it's not like there's some big wide open super greens that all you have to do is go hit out there. You miss the green, you chip on, no problem. It's not a killer course on a number of levels as long as you stay out of the fescue and the waste. There is definitely some horizontal hazards. You have to be careful not to hit into crossing hazards. You have to be careful not to outright lose your ball on this course. However, if you don't do that, it's not that hard. The course has pine trees on the sides. It's definitely a woods course. It definitely has pine needles under the pine trees. However, it's one of those courses that's been tamed down. The woods have been cut down under the pine trees for the most part. There's nothing above ankle height for the most part. You can definitely go into most of the woods and find your ball, and you definitely will be able to see the fescue that's out there, and all you have to do is not hit into it. You There's some blind shots in some places on the course. However, the fairways are set up so that they are very good landing areas. They have a 150-yard stake out there. Very easy to target the landing areas. It's nothing that's super hard. And I would say on this course, you probably can almost always expect that if you think it's a hard shot, when you get out there and look at the shot, when you get near where the landing area would be, you'll find it's easier than you would think. This course is definitely an appealing course to play, definitely a good place to take people out to play, whether they're relatives, families, friends, a romantic interest or something, or your parents or your grandfather, whatever. It's a good place to play, even though it has good verticality and a decent length, even from the back tees. I would say this course is reasonable golf. It has this kind of mossy rough that is from pine trees to pine trees across the course. There's not much in the way of lateral verticality, so it's pretty easy to hold fairways and pretty easy to put shots into play. And I just think it has a sort of a B level of difficulty in a course that's at least a B in terms of presentation, has some interesting shots, has some good shots off the tee, a fair number of draws and some cuts and high shots and low shots and downhill shots. And I don't want to get into too much detail. The pictures will already give more detail than I think just about the right amount of detail. And it just is a good course. I would say this course is about 90% of what I'd want to see in a golf course if I were going to make my own course. About 85 to 90%. Without being too hard, there are no houses on the course at all. None. The worst thing is you will hear some road traffic because there is a one-lane road, essentially a one-lane road that runs by the course on at least one side. And there's an airport near the course, near enough to where you'll occasionally hear small planes flying around the course, circling around the course. So I did have a moment playing about 6 o'clock at night when the sun was just below the trees and some goofball was up there spiraling around the course and doing power off turns and things like that, and just hovering over the one hole I was playing on. But other than that, no real distractions, no course maintenance while I was playing, no greenskeepers, not hardly busy at all. Just a nice course to play, a little buggy, you definitely want to take some bug sprays out there. Just a fun course to play. I just wouldn't think it's quite tough enough to be a 145 course. That I don't think it is. I would say high 130s, 140 from the back tees, more likely. However, I had a great time playing the course because it was recently aerated. They had a discount on the greens fees on what day did I play it on Thursday. It was $29 with the cart. Okay, it is a drive down from DC. You have to drive past Fredericksburg, number one. You then have to go another 20 minutes or so on 95, and then you have to take this wacky kind of inverted, it's like claret shaped drive, which is another 25 to 30 minutes off 95. And that is a weird thing. You can either go towards Fredericksburg up something, or you can go towards Dahlgren down 301, or you can go the other way south on this other road to get to 95, and I take 95 back up past the course to get to DC. But it wasn't a bad drive. It wasn't horrible. The traffic was decent, of course, because of COVID. There's not as much traffic on COVID as there normally is on 95. And except for the goofballs from New York driving their stupid rental trucks down all the way from New York in the left-hand lane while towing a car, not much traffic at all. Okay, not much hassle at all. There's some construction around Fredericksburg now, around 17 and 3, but not bad. I certainly enjoyed it. I certainly had a good time playing it. It was not the best time I've ever had playing golf. It was not the hardest course or the most challenging course that I have ever played, but it was still a nice round. I'm very glad. I've heard about this course a number of years ago when I played Kiskyak. I was out there and someone told me about it, and I just never quite got around to playing it, and I finally got a chance to play it, and it was absolutely worth it. Just a good, solid course. Not exceptional, but a good, solid course. That is Mattaponi Springs Golf Course in, I will say, basically the Richmond suburbs. It's probably about half an hour north of Richmond, out of downtown Richmond, northeast of Richmond. A solid B course. Might consider giving it a B plus. I would say that you have to take into consideration that this is a course that's much more interesting than Bewley Rock and much better layout than, say, Whiskey Creek and certainly Worthington Manor, but just a little bit tame compared to certainly tame compared to Bewley Rock, definitely tame compared to a lot of other area courses that are much closer to DC. It's really much more like a better Twin Lakes. It's if you took Twin Lakes and put it on the side of a mountain, that's what I would call this. I would say a better PB die off 270 without the long, vicious rough, but still, challenging, just not quite as tough as some of the courses in the DC area, like Hampshire Greens, but still fun, still a good course to play, and even at $50 for the regular rate on the week with a cart, still worth the money. A definite good outing. So I'll say B plus minus for the course. Mattaponi Springs in North Richmond, Virginia.